Some people have told me that this sounds like Minecraft music. That is the sound of a new instrument that I created, which is called, or I called it Magic Forest. It's like a multi-layer sample instrument, and I want to talk to you about how I created it and what I used to make it. But first, let's make some music with this thing. Alright, I don't know what genre that was. If you have a title for whatever genre that piece of music was, let me know down in the comments. And you might have saw that I was using SYNIDO MIDI controllers during that performance. They are the sponsor for today's video. They've been a great supporter of the channel, and they make great MIDI controllers, whether you need keys. This one is really cool because you can assign MIDI CCs right from the controller. Also, both of these SYNIDO controllers feature separate power options. So if you're going to use it with an iPad or a standalone device via the MIDI output, you don't actually have to be connected to a computer per se to get power for your controller. So they make a great option for that kind of application. They're also quite affordable options, so link down in the description if you are looking for a new MIDI controller and you want to check these out. But now let's talk about Magic Forest. What we're looking at here is a 4-layer sample instrument. Each of these tracks here, it's a different color. You can see they're numbered 1 through 4, represents a different sound. If I solo the first one, which is titled Simple Kalimba, you're going to hear that kalimba, that's my kalimba that I sampled. And you can hear some delay and some effects happening. There's also effects built right into Soundbox. So I've got a filter, a delay, and some reverb on layer 1. As I go through different parts of Soundbox here, you're going to see these colors are going to coordinate with the different tracks. So it's all built off of these 4 layers, so just keep that in mind. Now, layer 2 is from a hydrophone in water. This is like not a tonal element, it's just a little ASMR texture, which I like to add into instruments because I think it makes them a little more unique than just having tones. So then, since the kalimba was really like a short sound, it plays off a lot with the reverb and the delay there, but I did want something that could sustain a little more. So the next thing I have here is a glass, a wine glass that I filled with water and I bowed, and I was able to get 2 notes out of that. And using those 2 notes, those 2 samples stretched across the keyboard, you get this kind of ethereal pad sound. And you can hear that it's infinitely looping essentially. If I go to the settings for this sample, you can see the 2 samples stretched across the keys here. And then you can see that when I play the sample, it's going to play through this very long sample, and it's also got a loop point. So this is another thing that I liked using about Soundbox, is that it's very easy to control the individual elements of the sample layers. I can edit both of these layers individually. I can apply settings to both at the same time. It's a really easy workflow. Loop and ping pong, that's what's getting us that nice long sustained sound, right? But I also wanted to just use all 4 layers, so I sampled my acoustic guitar. And another really interesting part about Soundbox is it makes it really easy. You can see that there's 2 rows of samples essentially labeled V1 and V2. Essentially what that is velocity. You can set different velocities and they will be subtly different. Like I literally played the guitar, I played soft notes and 1 loud note. And that gives us a different sound. might be subtle, but it's definitely there. It just adds to the realism of the instrument. Again, we've got a bunch of effects on this layer. You can see the whole effects page here too. Compressor, delay, and reverb on this guitar, layer 4. So we've got the kalimba, the seltzer water, and the bowed glass, and when we put them all together, we get this sound that I call Magic Forest. Which I think is pretty magical. It's like walking through a magic forest, I would say. Like I said, this sound is totally free to download. Link is in the description. If you're just going to play this instrument with Soundbox, Soundbox is free as well. There's a paid version if you want to get into the sound designy kind of stuff. But I also wanted to show you that I've designed a second instrument now with Soundbox as well, which you heard in that track. This is a collection of sounds I call Mountaintop. Hollow Stone is like the main preset that I like. It's this marimba style instrument. You can hear it's got that texture layer in it as well. We've got a thud, a kind of drum sound, followed by a more actual mallet sound. Another mallet sound, which is slightly different. And then iced coffee. This is my ice moving around in a coffee cup using that hydrophone which I used for the previous sound. But we get this nice little mallet instrument. Now in Mountaintop, there's also an ARPed sound called Echo Ridge. This only uses 2 layers. It uses the drum layer and a marimba layer. But if we play it, this is what I was using in the track earlier. We're taking advantage of Soundbox's built-in ARP. Which I think is really meditative, but take a look at the ARP here in Soundbox. Again, there's an ARP on each one of the sound layers. So on ARP 1, which is the drum sound, you can see that we've got a little pattern going where the volume is going to vary over the course of the ARP. So it's not just a stagnant up-down arpeggiator, you can add some fluidity to it. If we go to ARP 2, you can see that there's sections where the octave will actually change just by holding down one key. Density is also cool where it will add little ratchets in. So I think that's a very cool, subtle way to make ARPs less stagnant, but still have a nice looping idea. Another reason I really like using Soundbox is because you can get the sounds on iPad. So I was testing out my sounds, making them on the computer, and then I could just airdrop them over to my iPad, open them up in Soundbox on iPad, and they work completely the same. I can even do some of my sound design workflow on iPad as well. So these sounds that I'm creating, you can use them both in your DAW and on your iPad if you want. But I'm looking forward to creating more virtual instruments. So if you have any ideas on things I should sample or ways I should use Soundbox to create virtual instruments, let me know. I'm working on another set of sounds right now, which is really cool, kind of like lo-fi synths that will be coming to a theater near you. So stay tuned. Soundbox is a lot of fun. Download it for free, play my free instrument, and go make some music. Thank you so much again to SYNIDO for sponsoring today's video. Check them out if you're in the market for a new MIDI controller. Maybe you've already got keys and you just need some pads. They make great MIDI controllers for both external gear, using them with DAWs, using them with iPads. It's very budget friendly. Check out the link in the description. That's going to be it for now. Thank you all so much for watching. This has been TAETRO. Have a good one.